Hello, everyone. This is Bryce with Coffee Crafters, and today I wanted to go over the cottage food laws and how these can affect you based on where you live. These laws are going to be for those people who are roasting out of their homes mostly, some commercial settings varying by state, but mostly just home micro roasters. These laws can restrict what you can and cannot do with your roasted coffee beans. Given the beans are a dry good, it's very relaxed on that portion. But we'll go through a couple states just to let you know the different things you might run into while preparing a home roasting operation. So, basically, what are cottage food laws? They are Cottage foods laws are made for people who sell goods out of their homes or other designated locations. These laws mostly deal with goods that are not potentially hazardous foods or foods that are not sensitive to time and temperature. So, say like baked bread versus a dairy product. Baked bread is going to have a lot fewer rules on it than a dairy product that needs to be constantly refrigerated so it doesn't spoil and whatnot. Cottage food laws are the rules and regulations you need to follow in order to sell your goods from your home, and these do vary from state to state. Some states are very open with these rules, while other states are very restrictive. We'll do two examples today: Idaho and Washington, given that we're right on the border there. Idaho is very relaxed with a lot of their laws, while Washington is one of the more restrictive states to open a cottage food business in. So, with that, let's see. Why are these laws important? First off, well, they're important because they're more there to protect the consumer than anything. Giving people freedom to sell whatever they want, whenever they want from their home can cause issues as far as food allergies, diseases from foodborne illnesses and whatnot. And so these laws help monitor the people creating these foods in order to make sure that what they're giving their consumers is safe and won't cause them any harm. Mostly, this is a lot to do with severe food allergies and whatnot, which can, cause death, and we definitely don't want that. Preparing food incorrectly is an easy way to make someone sick, and so these laws are there to protect them. The laws then, therefore, put the responsibility on the producer of the goods to be as careful as possible. And that way the consumer is protected, basically. So, let's get into it. Here we have the forager.com website. So forager.com/laws is what we use a lot. This is a great resource. It's basically like the SparkNote version of everything you can get on cottage food laws. They do have links here to the actual laws and regulations themselves if you wanted to check that out. But this just kind of gives you a general overview of what you can expect state by state. We have the map here, and you can just click on this to get to your spot, or down here they have the list. So we can see here places like Arizona and Idaho down here in the corner are green, meaning that it's very unrestricted, free to do a lot of different things. Whereas if you go down here to say Oklahoma, they have some very severe and strict cottage food laws. So it'll restrict your sales, what you can and cannot sell, where you can and cannot sell them, and whatnot. But let's start with Idaho here. If it'll let me do it, we'll go here. All right, here we go. So Idaho cottage food laws are fairly new to the state. The newest proposed rules were passed in 2016 and have gone through a couple of variations since then. Idaho remains still one of the least restrictive states to open a cottage food business, despite these laws. And really, it does have a lot of freedom compared to a lot of these other places, especially Washington, which is going to be way, way more restrictive. So in Idaho, though, we have allowed venues. So events like coffee conventions you can sell at, farmers markets as its own category, and from your home, obviously. Online sales are okay, and roadside stands. Uh, Allowed services delivery, mail order, and home pickup. One thing here that we want to point out, online sales, it usually in most cases means that you can't do mail order. It has to be direct delivery instead. Idaho is one of the few states that actually allows you to ship coffee to people who purchase online, which is pretty cool and something that we have done in the past here at Coffee Crafters. Prohibited venues, restaurants, retail stores, and wholesale. Basically, this means that you can't package up a bunch of coffee and put it in a coffee shop to sell individually. You can sell to businesses, but it would be more something like you sell to an office where you have like the office manager put it in their name and sell it to them directly, and then they are supplying it for the office. That is fine. You can't sell it to the business directly, so it has to be someone's name, not a business name, on that sale. So here in each section here in the state, it's going to look similar. No matter what state you click on, it's going to look a lot like this. One of the things you'll see is allowed foods. You can check this out. Coffee, which we're going to be using as the example throughout the rest of this video. People who produce coffee and have stores usually go like pastries. Go like you see those in coffee shops all the time, or chocolate. People have made chocolate out of our roasters as well. So you'll see here all these different kinds of things that you can still do under the same cottage food law permit. Some states like Washington will make you individually say what you're doing, while Idaho's will let you do any of these as long as you have a permit under cottage food law. You'll see stuff like here, salsas, pickles, perishable baked goods are prohibited under Idaho cottage food laws. Limitations, there are very few in Idaho. There is no sales limit. Some states you'll see there's like, say, a $100,000 sales limit, basically meaning that after that point you would need to qualify. You would need to apply for a commercial license, get a commercial setup and everything like that, like you're a regular business. Idaho does not have that. No sales limit means that as long as you're following all the other rules, then you don't need to get a commercial license. Direct sales only here, you'll see. Basically, this means that all sales must be in person. Your product cannot be resold. So like you can't sell to someone who then marks it up and then resells it for you. That is against the rules. Like I said before, usually shipping isn't allowed in some states, but Idaho is one of the few that will allow you to ship for online sales. Business forms, all of these here in Idaho are just recommendations. It's covering, even though it's not required, it is a good idea to get these. It's covering yourself legally in most cases. So like stuff like getting your water tested down here, getting your products tested. It's if something bad were to happen to a consumer, you have this all covered. Same with the food safety training. It's a good idea just to, let's protect our neighbors, that kind of thing. Let's make sure we're doing everything right and not cross-contaminating and getting people sick. So you can click through some of these. There's a link here to the food risk assessment form, so that way you would be able to get the real details on all this stuff. Labeling, they have said that they're going to be introducing a labeling requirement for Idaho cottage food laws. Looking at other states, this would be something along the lines of like ingredients, a statement saying that it was produced in a home kitchen, the name, your permit number, that kind of stuff. Minimal, I would expect for Idaho, given the relaxed laws for the rest of it, but something you would want to keep in mind and look into depending on what state, because most states will require some sort of labeling. And so that's pretty much it for Idaho. Let's go over to Washington now and see what a really restrictive state looks like. Compared to Idaho, Washington is going to look dramatically different. But I mean, it says right here, Washington is one of the most difficult states for starting a cottage food operations, and they're not lying. Washington cottage food laws have been around since 2012, so they've gone through different variations since then, including a policy to allow shipping during the COVID pandemic. It's not clear whether they're going to keep that going even after the pandemic, but they have traditionally not allowed that. Just a new thing for the last year and a half or so. Most recent estimates say that it's going to cost at least $240 to get started, and then an annual renewal of about $230 through the various different checks and forms and permits and whatnot that you need to get. So let's start down here with where you can sell your products. Allowed venues, same as Idaho: events, farmers markets, home, online, and roadside stands. Services, delivery, and home pickup. The biggest difference here is you cannot ship your products in Washington, and you can only sell interstate, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, if someone buys your product, they can buy it through you online, but they either have to come to your home and pick it up, or you have to deliver it to them directly. It's the same with businesses. It can't be an actual business that you're selling to, but you can sell to the office manager who provides the coffee for the office or whatnot, as long as they come and pick it up from you or you go and give it to them. Prohibited venues, restaurants and retail stores, just like Idaho. You can't sell it to coffee shops and whatnot. No wholesale either. Catering, this is a different one that was added for Washington. And essentially that means you can't roast a bunch of coffee, make it, and give it out to people at an event. So stay away from that. Allowed foods, there are still a lot of foods that you can do in Washington. I think the list is even longer than Idaho, just on a more restrictive basis. So like this one here, vinegars would be a new one, but if we're just sticking to coffee, we have coffee beans, no freshly brewed coffee. This is the same for pretty much every state. You can sell dry roasted coffee, whole bean or ground. They don't care. That you just can't brew it and sell it to people like you're a Starbucks. That would require you to get a commercial license, a commercial building, and set up like you're opening a coffee shop. So just make sure all your coffee is dry roasted beans only. So here we're going to get to the limitations. Sales in Idaho are capped at $25,000 per year. So not a whole lot of sales can be done before you need to get a commercial license. We have friends in Washington, just across the border from us, who started off at a cottage food level, and then once they hit that cap, they were required to get a commercial setup. They're still selling out of their home. It's just a different kind of permit due to the fact that they're exceeding $25,000 in sales per year. This also means that you need to keep really, really good records of your sales, because if you do get flagged and someone comes and checks on it, you need to prove that you're selling under 25,000. So that's the one there for Washington. Children restricted. This basically means that children and pets as well, you'll see that down here, are not allowed to be in the kitchen while you're making your products. I'm sure parents everywhere have a similar rule just on a daily basis, but we cannot have children or pets, mostly for cross-contamination purposes. We want to make sure that the food going out is as clean as possible, and that's why they have that there. Commercial equipment is not allowed in home settings, cottage food settings. Our roasters, luckily, are rated for both commercial and residential. So if your state has a commercial equipment prohibited, then you're fine with our roasters. You can still use them in your home. That's no problem. Direct sales only, like I said, all orders must be processed in person. They need to either come to you or you need to go to them. No shipping. Interstate sales prohibited. If you live in Washington, you can only sell to people who also live in Washington. This goes back to the keeping a good record. You know, they need to, if you get flagged, they need to be able to see that you're not selling out of the state. You know, in a place like Spokane, Washington, where they're right on the border, you know, there might be potential customers just right a few miles away in Idaho, but you couldn't sell to them. That, again, would require a commercial license instead. No domestic activity in your food prep area. Basically, this means that if you're roasting coffee and you have your roaster set up in your kitchen, you can't be like cooking your family dinner while it's roasting. This is all because of cross-contamination. You know, if there's food allergies or you know, raw meats, they just don't want the cross-contamination into the coffee for people who are unaware of that, what's going on. Like if your customer has a severe peanut allergy and you're preparing peanuts for your dinner and you're roasting coffee, you know, that could be really bad. Your roasting operation needs to be set up in your primary residence. No second home or vacation home or a friend's home. It has to be your residence, the one that you put your address that you put on the cottage food application when you do that. So sales limit, that's the last one, but we'll go ahead and skip down to what business forms do you need. Now you'll notice here that these are requirements a lot different than the Idaho one. So food workers card, everyone, even people you employ to help you with this, needs to get one. This one's just costs $10. It's valid for 2 years, excuse me. And you just take the course online. Business license. This is something you apply for to your city, and the fees vary for that from city to city, and that'll be similar for other states that require this kind of license. The cottage food permit is going to be the most costly part of this. It costs $230 to apply, and it does need to be renewed annually at that same price. There's going to be a lot of legwork as well. The whole list of requirements here, including floor plan of the kitchen, processing plan, packaging, you know, all of that kind of stuff needs to be put into the application every year when you reapply. This also then includes home inspection, which is right down here. When you apply, someone will call you to schedule a time to come to your home and do an inspection. If your kitchen does not pass, then you need to pay for them to come back at another time when you've gotten everything up to code. So just make sure you follow the rules there so you don't have to pay that extra fee and just get it done all in the first one. Product and labels, let's get back up here. Basically, there's just a list of things that you need to have on here when you make your labels. An allergen warning doesn't really apply to coffee, but if you sell things other than coffee, then you would need to disclose that. So ingredients listed from most found in the food to least, all that stuff. The net weight of the food, permit number, product name, and a statement saying that it was made in a home kitchen. So a lot of different things to do there. What's great though is that once you have the label set up, there's a lot of good programs out there online that will you can buy stickers with labels and everything just a whole bunch at a time, so you don't have to keep printing them out and whatnot. So go ahead and check that out. Stuff like Vistaprint, that kind of thing will be able to help you out there. Water supply home testing. This is for like if you have a private well, those need to be tested within 60 days from when you apply, and it needs to be retested once a year when you apply as well. So just making sure that the water you're using isn't harmful to anyone who might be purchasing your products. So here's an example of a label here. So, you know, this person's chocolate chip cookies made in a home kitchen. So we got that done. All the ingredients all the way through here, the name of the company, their permit number, and the net weight. So this is the kind of thing that you would need to have even with your dried coffee, your roasted coffee. Um, and so it just covers all the bases and all the requirements there. Again, they get into a little bit more detail if you go to the website, and they have links to um, the actual codes and laws from the state on there, so you can check that out. Make sure you're getting everything done. So workplace requirements here. You must store your cottage food products and business items separately from personal use. So you can't store your coffee on the bottom rack of where all the rest of your food for your family is. Keep it in a separate cabinet, keep it separate from everything else and whatnot. But that's pretty much it. So there's just a couple different examples of the two different things you may find, some more restrictive versus less restrictive states. But check out the website. Again, that's forager.com/laws. Just gives you the brief breakdown of everything to see what all you need to do to get the process rolling in your cottage food business. If you have any questions on this, you can always give us a call here at Coffee Crafters. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions and whatnot. But I'll put a link in the description below so you can follow that link here to this website. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss out on any new videos. We'll hopefully be doing more of these kind of informative videos as we go along. Thank you very much.